Alright guys, today I'm going to be installing the Z1 Rear Shock Skids on the rear shocks here. It looks like a pretty easy install. Z1's made some really nice products for me in the past, so excited to get these bolted on. Let's get started. All right, for this install, we're going to need a few things. I'm going to try not to use a jack or take my tires off. We'll see how that goes. But if you want to take your tires off, you'll need whatever you need to get those off. So jack stands, you need a 21 millimeter socket to remove the lug nuts. A few things to take off the existing bolts. You'll need a breaker bar. I used a torque wrench. This one goes up to 250 foot-pounds. We're going to only need to go up to 148, so just make sure that your torque wrench goes up to 148 foot-pounds. To get the bolts out, this will take the nuts off, and then to take the bolts out, you might need a hammer, maybe a ball socket separator. Depending on what size your sockets are, you might need some of these adapters that scale down. So my torque wrench is I think it's a 1/2 inch, and this is a 3/8, so I need an adapter to scale that down. You'll need 19 millimeter socket, and you'll need two of them, one for the bolt side and then one for the nut side to get those off. Once you take off your shock, it's going to want to expand, and so I recommend getting like a ratchet strap to ratchet it to compress it, and then I used a bunch of zip ties to wrap it really tight. And then once I released the ratchet strap, these kept the shock compressed long enough for me to then slip the bolt back in. You'll see that in the video. But these are the main tools that you'll need. You might need a jack, we'll see. Got the box here from Z1. Got some hardware here where the bolts will go. This is nice and heavy. I'm really gonna enjoy having these on and protecting those rear shocks. Made from aluminum. Unsure of the thickness there, but you can see nice and thick. And then these will inset here on the side. What's nice is they've also written the torque specs on there. 148 foot-pounds. So one less thing to have to look up. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is, I'm over here on the driver's side, we need to remove this bolt. They are, both the bolt and the nut on the back are 19 millimeters. Okay, so didn't have success unbolting it from this side. I used my torque wrench to loosen up this nut on the back side. And now I'm just going to use a smaller wrench just to keep this from spinning. Got the bolt mostly out. It's probably the end of it somewhere in the middle here, and I'm just not able to get it completely out. I'm going to try to use this ball joint separator just to create some leverage there. Looks like that's working. Got it. Okay, so notice I don't have any jacks. I don't have the tires off. I mean, you can just simply get that off like so. Okay, next there is a 12 millimeter bolt here that holds your brake line above your sway bar. We're gonna have to take that off because the way these brackets are, because the way these skid plates are. Once I put this on, there's a hole right here that I'm going to re-bolt that back into, and you can see it's going to fit the curve of the axle here. Okay, so next we just slide this over, and you can see it lines up perfectly here. We'll have to bolt this back in, and notice the shock is a little more extended than when I started, and so I'm going to have to use some force to get this lined up to get this bolt back in. You also need to put in these inserts on either side, and then we'll feed that bolt through here. So I went ahead and put this bolt, I didn't tighten it all the way, just because it helps keep the skid plate here while you're trying to line up this hole. Okay, so I was able to get this in by compressing the shock using a ratchet strap. So first I went around the whole shock, tightened it up, and then I added these zip ties to it. So you can see they go all the way up the shock. I did this because once this ratchet strap is on and this is on, it's really hard to get my ratchet strap hooks through this plate to remove the ratchet strap. So I didn't want to have to cut a ratchet strap or you know, find something else. So zip tied it with the ratchet strap on, zip tied it real tight, then release the ratchet strap, and that gave me enough time as these ratchet straps started to flex and expand to get the bolt through. And so the nuts on the back side, I still haven't cut the ratchet strap, but you can see they're not really holding up the weight anymore like this bolt is. And so Z1 puts it right here, 148 foot-pounds, so I'm going to get this tightened up and then do the other side. So the driver's side shock skid plate was relatively easy to install. I had to wait a couple of weeks because I tried to start on this one, and with the tire being on, I could not get enough leverage to be able to undo this bolt initially. So then I was just waiting to have the time to jack the truck up, get under here and do this side. So I have taken the tire off, put a couple jack stands in, one under the rear axle there, and then I've got a tire here for safety and another jack on the frame there. So I'm going to use a similar process to get those bolts off, get that changed up. Okay, so I was able to get this on easy enough. I really intended to try to make this video without using any jack stands or any jacking of the truck of any kind. So that's why I did it that first way. Took a lot longer. This took me 10 minutes tops to get everything installed. I did have to use a ratchet strap to compress the shock, and then I used zip ties to keep it relatively close to where it should be. I mean, it expanded a little bit, but at a very slow rate, and slow enough that I was able to slip this bolt in. And so I'm ready to take off this strap. And cut the zip ties. Okay, so I've got both of these skid plates installed. Next I'm just going to put the tire back on, torque the lug nuts down, and then get these jack stands out from under it. But you've seen that plenty of times, don't need to show you how to do that. If you enjoyed this video, please feel free to comment, like, and hit that subscribe button. Every little bit helps. Thanks again.